I'm happy to welcome you to our B2B Academy workshop. This is a part of our B2B community. So we have a B2B community that's working together, that's learning together, that's developing marketing and digital sales skills. And as of that, we organize these workshops for our community based on specific questions or things that you want to bring on. One of the topics that came up more often lately was the Google Ads question. Things like, how should I organize my campaign? How should I measure my campaign? How much budget should I invest? And so on. These are all questions that Sorin is going to try to answer today. And if you've been here before, you know that these are real hands-on examples of things that we're experiencing with our projects. Do feel free to ask the questions either directly by unmuting yourself or in the chat pane, and we will address them. Sorin, I think, is going to start with a bit of an general introduction into the topic, but then he will go more in depth into some aspects based on the questions we've had from you guys. Another thing just to mention, Sorin is running our Cluj-based office and our whole search and paid campaigns division. He has about 10 years experience with Google Ads. He's certified in pretty much anything you can imagine, and he runs like hundreds and millions dollar projects, paid ad campaigns for some of our customers. So you are in good hands from now. I will be back a bit later on after Sorin's presentation. Take it over, Sorin.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all. And without any further ado, let's start, basically, right? Because we only have a couple of hours, and not even a couple of hours. So, in the workshop today, we're gonna work a little bit on how we can set up the campaigns, work with the basics a little bit, and afterwards see how some of these elements may affect your long-term strategies if they're not placed correctly. So what we're going to do right now is something pretty simple. We're going to create a search campaign. We're going to define the objectives of the campaigns and also see how we can use the other types of campaigns from Google in order to achieve our objectives in the long run. If anytime, meanwhile, this session you have a question, as Loredana said, let me know. Loredana, please allow me to share screen.
Sure thing, right away. You are the host starting now.
Great. Okay, does anyone, does everybody see my screen? I think it's okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's close this. Okay, move this. What we have here on the screen is a newly made AdWords account. And we're going to use this as an example. It has no historical data. Everything will be made from scratch. We'll use this information as an example to identify how we can correctly build a search campaign using the information that Google provides, or if you have access to different other tools, you can use them also. The first thing that we'll need to take into consideration when you want to create a new campaign is the landing page. For this example, we use our landing page for B2B Prospecting Academy. And it's really important to have already the landing page before you can create a campaign, because from this page you'll have to take all the information you'll need in order to create one of the most efficient campaigns you can make with Google. So as you see here, we have the title, B2B Prospecting Academy. We tried not to let users get away from this this page. So basically, we didn't include the menu from the website in this page. We have a video that will act like a first call to action. The form that will be the second call to action. Another information that will help us improve the quality of the campaigns and keywords we're going to use in this campaign. And in the end, information about this training course, and of course, another call to action. If we want to start a new campaign, it's quite simple. Every new account will start from zero, from scratch. Just need to click on the next campaign and select a new campaign. As you see here, there are various types of goals that can be applied to a new campaign. They're pretty obvious from my perspective. Sales are used for online stores. They can easily show information both in search and image, and also videos of the products you have on your e-commerce store. Leads, I think one of the most common is trying to get a user register your newsletter, your form, watching a video, and so on. All of these are considered leads. Website traffic, it's bringing people to your website page. Product and brand consideration, alongside with brand awareness and reach, are mainly meant for brand awareness and display ads. This will provide a huge amount of impressions, but unfortunately they have quite a low conversion rate. App promotion, easy promotion ad for any app. Local store visits and promotions. If you have a local store, you can easily drive people there with this type of campaigns. For this campaign, we're going to go for website traffic, mainly because at this point, Google doesn't know how he can segment our users, and he will need to find out in the learning process for the campaign we're going to create. After we've selected the objective, we have different types of campaigns we can work with. Search campaigns are the most basic campaigns from all, and in most of the cases, the most efficient. They have a medium cost per click, low impression rate, but the conversion rate is quite high. And also, the segmentation is done by targeting keywords. And later on, if you want, you can add a remarketing list, but this will be another topic. Display campaigns are basically the image ads, and you can control them either by keywords, website placements, or different interests. Shopping ads, like I said, you can insert a list of your products from the e-commerce store, and this most likely will be created automatically, depending if you have an API or not. Video campaigns, video that will appear on every stream available in the world, basically. Most common is YouTube, and afterwards, I think on the second place is Facebook. But let's not forget on.
Sorry, and what you're saying is that with this ad type, basically, if you insert a video, it's going to be displayed while someone is watching, let's say, a relevant YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
And also we have discovery, which will let Google select what is your best approach with your campaign. But as I said, we have to be a little bit aware about letting Google select what's best for us, because Google, it's still a business and he needs to make the profit. So for this case, we're going to select the search campaign and add here the landing page. Google has changed quite a lot since a couple of years ago, and most of the information that we initially need to do manually have now been
Automated, yeah.
Automated. Thank you, Loredana.
This is why I'm here.
Word of the day.
Yeah. We can start a new campaign. The first thing that we need to modify here is the campaign name. Taking into consideration that in Google Ads, everything is can be easily modified, and it's advised to do that. I usually make a name like this: B2B Academy, which is basically the name of my campaign. Afterwards, I want to see what type of segmentation I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it for the search campaign, only for the search campaign, with a little add-on, search campaign and partners. I'm going to target this campaign for the USA. And I'm going to drive both desktop and mobile users to it. Usually I do this because after the first month, the learning process, I'm going to make various changes on each campaign. And each campaign must contain at least one different setting from the other one to know how we can improve the whole campaign. As stated before, we're gonna disallow the display network, select only the search one, and yes, I'm gonna leave the search partners. Search partners are basically other websites in which Google will have access for promoting their ads. In this case, Skype or Gmail. If you see a text ad in Skype or Gmail, it's basically an ad that is coming from Google Ads. More likely, if you want to focus on the search partners, I would suggest to go either for a video or a display campaign, which is basically an image ad, because it will get the interest of the user way more quickly than a search campaign. I'm going to select the location as United States. And here is one of the first mistakes user do. Not user, admins of the Google Ads accounts. Google allow us to select either people that are interested in services that are sold in the USA, or people that have a physical presence in the USA. Depending on the product or the service you are selling, it's best to check this information. Now, taking into consideration that we are selling an online course, online training, for me, it's okay if the users will have either the presence or the interest in services or products sold in the USA. The same, we can exclude the presence or the interest for the same region we targeted. The second panel will be targeting the languages. For example, if you have various languages that are spoken on a specific area, and also we have the landing page that can support that, we can choose different languages. So for example, we are targeting Canada, not USA, and we have this campaign in English, but we can target also French speaking and other languages from the Canada. In this case, we're going to leave only for English. In this case, for audiences, we won't complete anything because we won't have an audience on this account. Later on, after the basic optimization is done on the account and the learning process is over, you can create or define different audience depending on the objective you have on each campaign. But like I said, this will be a topic for another time. And here is one of the first problems most of the Google Ads admins have. What is the budget? What is the daily budget in this case? Okay, you work on a company or you have your own business. You know how much are you willing to spend. But it's a little bit hard to set up this, this information. That's why Google offered us a tool, a free tool, in which we can estimate how much are we willing to spend and what will be the results for the budget spent. I'll wait a little bit to load. And under the planning, we have Keyword Planner. And let's discover new keywords. As I said, Google already automated a lot of this information. So we're going to need only to put here the page. And let's see B2B Academy as a keyword. I already selected a couple of keywords, which I will add here in the keyword planner. We switch the location to the USA, remove Romania from here, select the language as English.
So Sorin, Google automatically does a selection based on statistics that people search on around your keywords.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And right now, Google showed us that for the list of keywords we've previously selected from this page, we'll get a number of 67 clicks and over 5,000 impressions for a cost of $940, with an average cost per click of $14. What it's good to know in this case is that this is the information that collected from the same period of the last year. So it's from a Google index. Taking into consideration all the ads that were made in the same period of the last year, Google estimated that this can be the results in your case with this specific budget. We can easily play with this and see what happens if we increase the budget. As you see above, you see average daily budget, 110, 96, and so on. So by placing anywhere around this graph, you can modify the forecast depending on how much budget you have. So if I'm willing to spend...
If last year is representative, like would you consider the pandemic year a representative one, or would you look to a previous one, let's say?
Right now, I won't. If this tool was really powerful in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, because it had the exact data with the exact trends as in the last year. But right now, it's only an estimate with 60% chance of being right. And that's mainly because of the pandemic.
Okay, thanks.
With pleasure. Google has a little trick for this ads planner. The planner was changed a couple of years ago, in which you can easily set up the cost per click for each keyword and see some advanced estimates for each ad group. Right now, you can only modify the daily budget. And as you saw, the average cost per click has been increased from $13 to $26. In reality, it's not like this. Usually, if you have more budget to spend on Google, the cost per click will be dropped.
This was my question. Is this realistic now? This estimate?
Not really, no. Usually, you want to see what happened in the market a year before. You want to see what is the average cost per click your competitors paid for this type of campaigns. Let's see, daily budget. Let's set a daily budget of 100. So for this example, your company or your marketing budget is a little bit over $1,000, okay? For this type of keywords, Google will give you around 420 clicks and almost 10,000 impressions with an average cost per click of 7, okay? It's good to know because this is how we can start the campaign. We're not gonna pay $7 per click, not at the beginning at least, because let's not forget the campaign is still at the learning in the learning process. So we don't really want to start the campaign with a high cost per click that will get even higher after we'll do a couple of A/B testing and user segmentation. But it's a good start. We can get 400 clicks at least for this budget. Going back to the budget for 100. Keeping the same numbers, $3,000 budget per month, we'll set up $100 per day. On the bidding, as we have here, we'll set maximize clicks. how many of you have your campaign set up on cost per action or other objectives from the beginning of the campaign? Okay, good answers.
Not feeling chatty.
Yeah, the idea here is you should usually avoid letting Google choose from for you. Usually when I start a new campaign, I want to create a new segment of users I can use in my other campaigns also. So usually a new campaign should be always set up on clicks, and it's better to set up a maximum cost per click bid. Otherwise, your competitor may have a strategy that can outbid you, and it happened in some cases, even if I targeted a keyword with $5 per click to be bid, to have a bid of over $100. So in this case, let's select $3 as a cost per click bid limit. I selected free because usually in the US, you can start campaigns for services between 1.5 and $3 per click. Worst case scenario, you'll lose 3 or 5 days on your campaign in which you won't spend your daily budget. But afterwards, you can easily modify the bid limit and see what is the right bidding, considering your competition, the number of impressions you're going to get, the quality of your campaigns, and so on. You can make changes and optimization strategies that can save you a lot of the budget in the long run. Or if you feel lucky or very well prepared, you can select a manual cost per click without the help, the enhanced cost per click, because this will artificially increase the average cost per click of the whole campaign. And from my A/B testing up to this point, the enhanced cost per click hasn't been proved worthwhile. But again, this is only my personal opinion. I will go again on the maximized click with a cost per click bid limit of $3. We're not going to add right now the ad extension. Okay, not nice.
It's a webinar, so didn't expect everything to fail.
Yes.
No worries.
Yeah, apparently by opening the forecast, my draft was deleted.
It's good we get to.
It's not a problem.
Solutions for that as well.
Yeah, so Google.
So you're basically saying it's quite difficult to run a campaign by yourself, relying on this automation and do-it-yourself tools that Google has.
Yeah, it's reliable, but you have to know a lot about the keywords and how they will affect the campaign. Let me finish this, and afterwards we'll discuss a little about the keywords.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope. Okay, we haven't added these keywords in the campaign. Usually, they take this information from the keywords planner. So even if we didn't do any research on the keywords, by letting Google know that this is our page, our landing page, Google decides to serve us a couple of keywords. Some of them are quite good, but some of them are not really that good. Also, we have the daily estimates on the right part of the screen. As I said, it's an estimate with a 60%, 50 to 60% chance of being right. So still good, but not as good as they should. But we have here one piece of information that is really important for us. We have the lowest cost per click we can work with. So even if we selected there a free maximum bid, we'll see here that with these keywords, the cost per click can be the cost per click bidding can start from $1.04. Because we're not going to trust Google in this case, we're going to select only the keywords we've added. And as you see, the cost per click has dropped from $1.04 to 38 cents. And also the number of clicks per day has been increased from 4 to 10. But we have a problem because we have a budget of $100 per day. And this shows that we'll only spend $4 by making a campaign with only these keywords. And in this case, let me introduce you to the phrasing of the keywords. In Google Ads, there are three types of phrasing, three official ones. We have the broad search, which is the lexical sphere of this keyword, for example, lead automation. And let me show you with an SEO tool what this means. Basically, the broad phrasing will allow Google to select any keywords that are similar to the one that you've selected in your campaign. Only 57 keywords found, 80%, just a couple of seconds. As you said, Daniel, it's a workshop, so we have to expect the unexpected. Usually this is analysis that is made in 3 seconds. Apparently not now.
With the Dynamics environment, the same. After 4 p.m. once the US people start working, finish their coffee, then it's like on dial-up speed.
Yeah. So back to the workshop. For lead automation, Google will select what is related to this kind of term. So even if you choose a term that will have around 1,000 searches per month, he will also target other keywords that will improve the number of visitors for each type of keyword selected. a short explanation about the types of matches is above this this window, and we'll show you a little bit how you can manage it. The second type of phrasing is the phrase matchup, that will allow Google to add only to keep the main keyword and add only keywords before and after the existing search term. And the last one is the exact matchup, that will target only the users that search the exact type, the exact match of this keyword. In this case, we'll use phrase matchup for all that will contain B2B as a keyword. Generate leads and lead automation will keep them as broad, and at this point we won't put any exact words. But after the initial optimization process and the learning process will be over, we're gonna take care of that. Let's save. As I said, Google already started, created a couple of ads for us because he had the information in the landing page. So we have here the final URL of the campaign. We have to put the display path, which is basically the URL the user will see. So if you have URL that is trackable in HubSpot or other CMS, in analytics, it has a tracking code attached on it. Google won't let the user see it, but you can easily set up a fake URL. For example, B2B Academy. A couple of the titles and the descriptions have already been completed, and in order to achieve a high quality ad, you need to make sure that you used all the keywords in the keywords list in the title of the ads and also in the descriptions. Just to make these things a little bit easier, I created a couple of new titles that can be added here that will contain the keywords we already selected for this campaign. Up to this point, we used most of the keywords. We still have a couple of headlines we can add. And Google will choose what are the headlines that will be shown to the users depending on their search history and interest. Later on, it's better to avoid this dynamic creation of the campaigns and create some static campaigns, static ads that will serve only the keywords you want to focus on. So in the end, at the beginning of this campaign, we started with 10 keywords. The number of the keywords will be multiplied because we selected a couple of them as broad. And from there, we can only keep the keywords that will generate leads in the end or have a low cost per click or high efficiency, depending on the strategy you want to use. The same as in the headlines, we'll add a couple of descriptions. And we are done. The campaign follows almost every suggestion in Google, and this will finish the registration for the campaign. And again, we have a duplicate value. It would be easier if Google will tell me where the duplicate value is.
I believe it's B2B Prospecting Academy.
You're right. Thanks.
Yay.
And in the end, you'll have only to check if the information you've set up for the campaign are great or not. Let's publish this campaign. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to pause it. Because we still need to work a little bit on this. As a structure, every campaign, just a second to load. Okay, so as a structure, every campaign contains different ad groups and ads. If you take a look on the keywords we've selected, you see here a couple of categories. We have the B2B keywords that will be placed in a separate ad group after the learning process. And we have the general keywords that will be used to farm more keywords, taking that information from your competitors and the information from the search history of the users. So we have here generate leads and lead automation that will be farming other keywords. I'm going to modify right now the match types, make them all phrase matches. It's easier to make these changes all at once. Afterwards, select generate leads and lead automation, make this broad match. And as I said, at this moment, we won't put any exact match, but after we see what happened with the data we gathered in this campaign, we'll modify it. Another thing that we have to take into consideration is not to waste the budget we are currently having on this account. So make sure that on every campaign you start working with, you're going to set up the negative keywords. The most common negative keyword that you can use on a campaign is the word free. By setting this negative keyword, every every keyword that, every search query that will have the word free in it won't appear for your targeted users. So if someone is looking for free training, in this case, he won't be targeted by our campaigns. And this will increase the click rate of the campaign and also, in the end, the conversion process, the conversion rate. I told you about this farming keywords that were left on the broad. By generating data on this account, you'll not only see how many clicks you'll get on this keyword, but also get the information about the search terms. So you'll see the exact term that a user will use in order to find your campaign. Discussing about the basic optimization, this is one of the most important part of a campaign optimization process. Take your time at least twice or 3 times a week and check the search terms of the campaign, see if you are focusing heavily on the search campaign. Otherwise, it's easy to spend hundreds of dollars on people that are willing to identify any free trainings or free services, free trials, and so on. If you have this, it's not a problem, but taking into consideration that free terms, free search terms, or the search terms that contain the word free are like 3 times cheaper, 4 times cheaper than they usually are the rest of the keywords. So in this case, I would suggest to make another set of campaigns. You can easily duplicate this campaign and focus strictly on free keywords with a cost per click of, I don't know, 30 cents, 40 cents, depending on your business industry. Another thing that we can look after is the budgeting. Let's say, for example, you started the campaign, you followed this strategy, but you get no clicks, or you get only a high number of impressions with a low amount of clicks. This usually means that the location you've selected, which is not the case in this scenario, is quite limited, and the interest is not available for your services or products in that area. Either the language is not set up correctly. For example, you choose, I don't know, French to an Indian country, as an example. Or most likely in 90% of the cases will be the bidding. We have to start it from the lowest point when it comes to the bidding. But if nothing changes in a couple of days, it's up to us to modify it. This is basically the price we pay if we don't let Google set up the settings for this campaign at $20 per click. You have to do it manually a couple of times. In the end, by the end of the month, if you do this periodically, you'll pay 2 or 3 times less than Google is estimating, and you get basically the same results. Also, if you sell products or services that are searched only on specific periods of time. For example, you are selling a software, but the sales department will start working only from 8 a.m. You can easily do that and avoid wasting any budget by having an ad working after the working hours of your company. Up to this point, Are there any questions?
So maybe I'll ask the rest of the people that we have in the workshop today, open-ended question. Like, are there some of the topics that you had in mind for today, or do you have specific questions around, you know, things that you're confronted with? Let's say you're trying to set up a campaign, or you've already done it, but you have issues with budgeting or reporting, or, you know, what are some why did you join today's session? Let's see this, so that, I mean, Sorin is here to basically help you guys, and he can talk like forever about Google Ads, but maybe you have specific questions you like answered. No questions. Okay, nice. Sorin, I guess people like just hearing you.
That's nice.
So I have a question. Sorry, my camera on.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
I think Megan is frozen.
Yeah, I think you got disconnected, Megan, for a while.
Them to be success-wise.
I didn't hear the word.
Megan, you froze for a bit. There was
Sorry.
No worries.
My internet's being a bit funny. Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask, how would you measure your keyword success? So if the keywords you've chosen are successful for your campaign, what would your measurement be there?
Depending on the objectives. In the first month, it's important to have a good bid. That's the only thing I look after. And also, it's important to have keywords that focus on what you're selling. Usually in a campaign, I try to find both informational and transactional terms, so that will both decrease the cost per click, but still make a remarketing list that will help me in the long run. Afterwards, it's about setting objectives, depending on what do you want to achieve with this campaign. In the end, no one will want traffic. Traffic can be bought if you want, not good, but can be. In the end, you'll want to create a remarketing list that can be used. So for example, you have some freemium products, an ebook or something that can be downloaded for free. You can easily drive traffic there with a display campaign, which is extremely cheap, create a remarketing list, and also use that remarketing list with a campaign that is heavily based on lead generation. In the end, in the beginning of any new campaign, it's all about gathering data. It's good to start the campaign for every topic you have, not only selecting them into the ad groups, afterwards dividing them into desktop and mobile users. Both of these changes are for creative remarketing list. In the end, everything relies on the remarketing list, because you create a list, an audience list that has a different level of interest of your product. And from there, again, it's all about the objectives.
Thanks.
Sorin, we also have a question from Bianca in the chat pane. Thanks, Megan, for your question, and we look forward for more. So if you have more, maybe right after this one, you can go ahead again. So the question was, Sorin, from Bianca, I am working in sales and I want to convince my colleagues we should run Google Ads as well. along with traditional sales. Do you want to take this one? Because I can take this one.
If you want.
Okay. So the simple answer is, Bianca, set up a meeting with me. I can convince your colleagues. I'm good at that. But the maybe more in-depth message is, in sales, there's never enough, especially leads. This is another channel to produce leads, right? So you need qualified leads. Initially, the leads you get from Google Ads, and I hope I'm not discouraging everyone, are not that well qualified. But with some optimization work and with help from someone that knows what they're doing, like Sorin here, you can get really good quality leads. And the best case scenario is to hit the client when they're looking for a solution. So basically, this is one of the few ways where, especially in B2B, you know the customer is actively looking for a solution, a service, a product like yours, and you hit them right when it hurts, basically in the moment that they are ready to purchase, to make a decision, to be informed. And so there's multiple arguments here. But again, in sales, there's never enough channels to get leads. This is a sure channel to get leads on top of direct sales. I would also add the argument that these days, direct sales, it's hard to come across, right? Because of the pandemic, we can go to nice trade shows, we cannot meet people through associations and so on. And this is mostly virtual. And virtually, this is one of the few ways you know when your prospect has a specific need that you can fulfill. Daniel or Sorin or someone, would you like to add anything on this short answer?
Usually, when we talk about online marketing and after the algorithm updates that happened in Google in the past, let's say 1 year after the pandemic struck, if you want to have a really good visibility for your website, for your services, you'll have to create traffic from at least 3 channels. Google Ads can be one of them. Referral is another good one. Referral is the traffic that's coming from other websites to your websites. Organic is another powerful one that can be done by searching different keywords. And also paid campaigns from the social networks is a great plus. If you have at least 3 steady flows of traffic in the campaign alongside with an optimized website, at least from the technical perspective, the retention, the cost, and the efficiency of those campaigns will be increased. So try to focus on multiple directions at once. The same applies with AdWords. Only a search campaign won't do anything. You have to create a funnel. You have to select users that you believe that are, let's say, top of the funnel, and drive them through different ads, through remarketing, so that in the end they can buy from your website.
Sorin, how refined can you be when you're targeting the campaign? You know, like age, location, things like that. I don't know.
It's not social media in which you can select a segment of users in which you're gonna show the ad. It's mainly based on the interest and the search queries. Display and video campaigns are based on interest. Shopping campaigns, again, on the search interest and search history. Search campaigns are based on search queries with slight variation. And for apps, it's all about interest.
Sorin, we have a couple of more questions which were added when people subscribed to the workshop. So I just want to address them. Some of it I think you touched on, but I just want to make sure that they're properly given attention. One is from Ioana, and she's asking how to properly create a better campaign based on the data collected from the previous one. Just some examples based on what you investigate. This is the question.
Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you create a campaign based on objective of getting the information, slight information from the users, probably the name and email address, for giving them a free ebook, you can use that data to create an audience list that can be later used for a campaign that will drive sales to the website. It's something that must be done on every campaign. I cannot stress enough about how important are the remarketing campaigns and how much budget it can save on the whole account. So make a campaign that can easily get the information, and you don't really have to get that person to be registered on the page. You can easily give them a cookie and add them to the remarketing list, and from now on they are on that remarketing list and can be targeted specifically. Google ads are not really that powerful in the beginning, but if you do this correctly, they're a really powerful marketing tool.
Okay, thanks. Another question we have from Ciprian. I think Ciprian is here in the call with us. I heard him earlier. So he's saying he has a challenge, how to promote a own startup in a noisy digital environment, how to decrease CPA cost per acquisition, I guess. Ciprian, do you want to provide more context to this?
Yeah, it's cost per acquisition that I meant.
Well, usually if you are a small fish in a big ocean, you have to focus on long-tail keywords. You have to make your homework with the keywords. I mean, find what are the search terms that have a low cost per click. Try to identify the transactional keywords, and with the low budget, you can easily target those. I tried this with Amazon for an e-commerce website. Most of the Amazon, let's say, bigger fish, the partners from Amazon, have ads that will target broad keywords. But I can easily outbid a broad keyword by using a targeted match in my keywords list. So even if I will pay a little bit more on that keyword may provide really useful in the long run and make the user buy from me. Basically, it's all about keyword research. And afterwards, just make sure that the campaign is fully optimized and try to get them from different campaigns also. Usually, a user will buy after he sees your campaigns at least 7 times. So you have to be there from there. Try not to make the campaigns target a whole country. Try to target, for example, a city or a part of a city, because you can do that. Focus on your main keywords, basically do your research. You can easily check what your competitors are doing in a specific area.
And by long tail keywords, can you give us an example in like with the B2B Academy, what are some of the long tail keywords we could use? Just so that we understand what are, you know, straightforward keywords and what are long tail.
That was my next question, because I happen to be in the learning space as well, and also about B2B training digital space.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. No results. Just a second. So, for example, a broad term is B2B. The more keywords you add to this keyword type, this will make it a long tail. Usually, long tail
the more context you give to the actual challenge that the prospect may have.
Yeah, the broad search is B2B, a long tail term. What does B2B mean, for example? Or how you can sell services to B2B, different areas.
And how about transactional keywords, Sorin?
Depending on the search intent, there are two types of keywords. There are informational keywords. What does B2B mean? Or transactional, which will be, let's see something here. I have no transactional here. B2B definition, for example, is an informational term, and a transactional one is how to sell my services to B2B.
Okay, so the ones that would basically engage sales, direct sales, like this is why it's called transactional, because it induces an online sale.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And also
long tail keywords, sorry, are cheaper, right?
It depends on the industry. It depends if the competition is bidding on them or not. But like I said, if your competitor has only a broad match on a specific keyword, you can easily outmatch it with a specific search.
So what you're saying is basically that we actually need to listen to how our customers search, understand what they're searching for, and basically when we add this long tail keywords, we need to phrase it in the way that they search it, and the longer the better, because it decreases our cost and it improves the quality of the leads, right?
Yes. And also we can check the average time spent on a website for each keyword if we want. We can do this in analytics if we create a link between analytics and AdWords, and we can see all this information both on the, well, not on the search term, only on the keywords that will appear on the ad. So for example, if you see in analytics, you have free clicks on B2B Academy, you can check also in analytics and see how much time those people who clicked on B2B Academy spent on the website, and if that is a good keyword or not. Now, maybe free clicks won't be enough to identify if that is a really good keyword, but in some cases, this information are quite easy to understand. I mean, if you see that for a keyword you have 100 clicks and the average time spent on the website is less than 5 seconds, it's clearly that you don't have to make that keyword work. It's not working for a business. And you can easily erase it from the campaign and focus on the keywords or on the categories of keywords that will bring you most more visibility, more traffic, more leads, and so on.
Thanks. Anybody else has questions? Yes, no, maybe.
Sorry, me again.
Yes, please.
My internet's been
the
really.
whole room. Apparently, nobody else has questions, so we're here for you.
My internet's been really unstable, so this may have been answered and I've not heard it. I just wanted to know how long you would recommend giving a campaign before you decide whether or not to end it.
I will give it at least 2 weeks in which I will try not to modify anything on it. And afterwards, between 2 weeks and 3 months, depending how much of an audience I will try to work with that campaign. If, for example, I have all of my budget in only one campaign, in order to get enough data to make some really efficient changes, I will need the data to be gathered at least 2 months. But if I have small batches of keywords in that campaign, I leave the 2 weeks needed for the learning process, and afterwards you can easily start the A/B testing. In other words, it depends on
yeah.
on each website, each category, it's a little bit different.
If I may, I'm reading between the lines that there's kind of a process that you follow, starting with the understanding and then going through some other steps in organizing your process. Can you share a little bit of that? I'm aware that this might be a completely different topic. Probably it relates to strategy on how to build up this strategy for digital marketing.
Well, usually when I start a campaign, I always focus on budget optimization, because this is the way we can easily improve the traffic we get from each campaign, even if it's 100% relevant traffic, only 30% of it's relevant. I can easily segment that information afterwards and create 2 separate campaigns, one top of the funnel and other bottom of the funnel. But another thing that is really important is, after you get enough data, you can allow Google to manage your campaign using cost per action, cost per lead, cost per sale, and so on. ROAS, if you are brave enough. At the beginning, what I see in most of the accounts I handle is that most of the campaigns are started with a CPA objective, which is kind of bad, because Google doesn't know how this account will work. Or even if he has some information from the previous campaigns, something must have been changed on those campaigns. So the cost per action won't work, or cost per acquisition won't work as it should. So you'll find out that in the end, you can easily win a client with $100, but by choosing the CPA objective, you got it for $250. So you have to take this step by step, understand that this kind of campaigns require time to learn, to identify what are the preferences of the users, and also don't forget that Google is a business, and if you let Google suggest some changes on your campaign, in 90% of the cases there will be bid changes. You are not paying enough, that's why you don't have any sales. And that's not really true, because I worked on a lot of campaigns in which my competition paid around $70 to $20 per click, and I got the same traffic that they had with 5 or even 10 times lower cost per click than my competitors. So it can be done, but it's a little bit of a tedious work before you get there. In the long run, it's worth it. Did I answer your questions?
Well, more or less, because I also heard from you the A/B testing that comes after understanding of the main keywords and the market. So I had the impression that there is kind of a process, a funnel that you go through with some steps.
Yeah, but it depends on the objectives we have for each campaign. Like I said, first time we have to optimize the budget. Afterwards, we proceed with the A/B testing to create the segments. And depending on the data we gather, for example, we have a huge interest in a specific keyword. It's no longer a viable solution to keep that information in the same campaign as with the other categories. We need to start this process again. And even if we gather all this information in the previous campaign, starting the new campaign or even duplicate it, we'll still need to take time to identify the new segment of users.
So as a conclusion, I take it it's a lot of trial and error or a learning process.
Yeah, it's a lot. Usually for an account, you need at least 10 hours of work per week at the beginning. Afterwards, usually after 1 year, this time spent on maintaining, depending how the structure has been changed in the meanwhile, is slightly changed. You don't really have to spend so much time to optimize it, because you only have some basic optimization work to do. But at the beginning, you have to work a lot.
Thanks.
So to a customer, Sorin, you would say that for the first month, for the first 2 months, he won't get like the maximum results, or out of his
Not the maximum value. There were cases in which the client was getting some really good leads and quite good sales, if I remember correctly. But that was mainly because he was using different channel of traffic, and it happened that the user will entered the website and complete the sales through AdWords. It's really important to have multiple channels to work with. At this point, Google Ads is just a channel that can bring to the website enough traffic to increase the number of sales. Because with a website, it's really easy. You either give the website a lot of traffic, or either you have a really high conversion rate. If you are lucky enough to have them both, it's a win-win situation. But usually you have to start with the traffic, and later on, with all the information that Google is providing, you can modify both the landing pages, the messages you can use in AdWords or on the website or in different campaigns. But to answer your question short, it depends if in the first 2 months the AdWords campaign can be useful or not. Taking into consideration this learning process, it may or it may be not.
Thank you. I can see you get your Google certifications. have the same language as they use. You know, it depends. Yeah.
It's hard to estimate because you don't really can know exactly what will happen. So this is what they told us to say, and this is what we're saying. What I can say for sure that from the third or fourth month, you can easily see steady flow of sales.
Just be ready for a couple of months where you might get some surprises, or the budget might be bigger than you expected.
Yeah, that's why I'm usually trying to reduce the budget spend and afterwards focus on conversions, because like I said, by setting a campaign on cost per action won't do anything. It will just scramble the segmentation and mess up the work you've done up to that point.
I see. And Google automatically invoices you, right? Even if you go over the budget, you will just receive. You can.
Yes, there is a low chance that Google will go over the budget. And if he does, he will spend less in the next few days just to make sure he won't surpass the monthly budget.
Okay, thank you. So you don't go bankrupt.
No, you don't really go bankrupt, but usually you get in the first days 100 or 200 more dollars spent than you expect. That's mainly because by showing your ads in 1 second, you can easily get 100,000 impressions and a couple thousand clicks, and you have to pay for them.
I'm asking because this is a common scenario for some of our clients saying that they got overwhelmed, or they were working with some agency that didn't I don't know, justify the spendings on Google, and they were just invoicing them and said this week or this month we increased by 40% the budget without giving some real explanations. That's why.
Yeah, Google tends to do that, but usually it's all about how you set up the campaign. If, for example, you like I set up the campaign earlier, I targeted the whole USA. Don't do that ever. With all the English speakers, with a budget not so high, it's normal to get from day-to-day different budget spendings. For example, for a campaign like this, in the first day, you can easily get a $500 spending in the first day. And if you look on the analytics, all of them may come in a single hour period. So you have to make sure that you set up the campaigns correctly. And also there are a couple of scripts that will allow only a couple of ads to be shown per hour. So everything can be done in this area.
Okay. Are there any tools out there that integrate everything, like the Google Ads monitoring and also the social media paid ads monitoring, something like that?
There are a couple, but from what I know, they have huge problems with the data gathering. So you'll get different results in the third-party software and different results in Google Ads.
I see.
That's the main problem there, and also you have a period of time in which you can make those changes. So I don't really recommend them. Best, you can do all the changes you need in each account, and also each account has different features that can be accessed only from that account. So it's good to use them because, like I said, data analytics is gold. And when we talk about Google Ads.
I'm always trying to make my life easier. That's why I was asking.
You can try a couple, but you'll see in a short time that they're not really what they really promise. As for example, there are a couple of programs that will block your competitors' IPs. Again, not really the best solution, even if it's marketed as the most powerful tool in the universe. You can do many things with that, with the money you spend on that tool, and use the remaining budget in promoting your campaigns.
Yeah, some optimized campaigns. Anybody else with some questions? Because we get to talk each day.
Sorry, me again. I need to run. I just want to say thank you very, very much. I appreciate the time, and that was super insightful. And I will see you another time, I'm sure. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you as well, Megan.
Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. And thanks, Sorin, for the very interesting information you've shared. We look forward to more of your questions or more of your challenges, so that we can come up with this kind of workshops and content that is really useful and easy to apply. And if you have any questions afterwards, Sorin, Daniel, myself, and everybody at NNC is here to help support you. So let us know how we may support you with your digital marketing going further. Thanks again for being with us today. I hope this was useful.